prior to the early 50s, when Lafayette was basically an agricultural and college town, what is now our University of Southwestern Louisiana was the Southwest Louisiana Institute, and in the 50s the creation of the oil center became a fact, and upon that creation many companies moved into the Lafayette area to begin their operations or to move their operations, and it was really the oil industry in Lafayette more or less dates from the inception of the oil center, and since that time many companies have moved into this area. In fact, second to Houston, Lafayette is the most active oil center in the United States, and of course the growth of Lafayette Parish has been key to a large degree on the oil activity in our area, both onshore and offshore.
Move to a new area, you should find out all you can about that area. That way you'll never be outside the mainstream of activity. Hello, I'm Jack Frost. I'd like to spend the next few minutes with you telling you about just such a move by Louisiana Public Broadcasting to Lafayette, the vibrant hub of Acadiana. But you know, finding out about an area is often more difficult than you even imagined, because there is so much to find out in such a short amount of time. See what I mean? So let you and I take a tour of Lafayette and the surrounding area to be served by Louisiana Public Broadcasting. So just where do you start to learn about your new hometown? Well, to me, one of the best ways is to visit various locations. Yes, you can go to the Chamber of Commerce and the Tourist Information Center to learn statistics like about homes, churches, schools, the economic base. But what I would like to do right now is lay sort of a foundation for you about the city of Lafayette's history, its past. Now, you take this park, for example. This is Girard Park. Like many other locations in and around Acadiana, it was once the scene of a Civil War battle. But long before the Civil War, early white explorers, Spanish, French, and English, were impressed with the potential of the area. The Attakapaw Indians were original lords of the countryside, but war and disease later reduced the powerful nation to a scattered tribe. The Lafayette area started out as a plantation settlement about the time of the American Revolution. Vermilionville, as it was then called, was laid out as the parish seat in 1824 by Jean Mouton, who gave land for the courthouse and Catholic church, now St. John's Cathedral. Vermilionville was incorporated in 1836 and reincorporated in 1869. The town was renamed Lafayette in 1884. Settlers had originally wanted that name to honor the Marquis de Lafayette, but a small village near New Orleans had the name. When that village was taken into the city of New Orleans, Vermilionville residents reincorporated into Lafayette. Lafayette is strategically located at the center of an 8-parish area known as Acadiana. It's a city of contrasts, progressive but clinging to its French heritage. The name Acadiana comes from the Acadiens, who were driven from Nova Scotia by the British and began arriving in Louisiana after 1760. The state was a suitable refuge for the Acadiens because they shared a common French background and religion with the colonists. By 1790, over 4,000 Acadiens had come to Louisiana. The present term Cajun is a corruption of Acadian. Lafayette is known as the hub city. There are 500,000 people who live within a 50-mile radius. The spokes of the hub are cities like Opelousas to the north, Crowley to the west, Abbeville to the south, and New Iberia eastward. Other smaller communities dot the countryside, filled with unique bilingual people living along slow-moving bayous lined with moss-draped trees. Yes, Lafayette has indeed grown since those days in the 1800s when it was just a sleepy little village. One main cog in the wheel of progress has been the oil and gas industry. As a matter of fact, one entire section of the city is dedicated to just that industry. It's called the Oil Center. Within and nearby are some 750 oil-related service companies. The oil industry has just completed a banner year in South Louisiana. 1981 should be even better.
The future for energy at any level is, I think, is just fantastic because certainly we have not tapped all of our petroleum reserves in this country. And with Lafayette being a center of activity and generation of energy-minded or energy-related activity, I think it's great. I think it can be nothing but good. You know, we enjoy the lowest unemployment in the state, in our area, and also the highest per capita income. And a lot of this is directly related to the petroleum industry because some 18% of the non-agricultural workforce in our area are employed with direct related petroleum activity, direct related job, and some 22 to 24%, I would say, in indirect related petroleum activity. So very few families in our area are not touched in some way by the petroleum industry, by members of the family being in the industry or directly or indirectly connected with it. And I think it's had well, there's no doubt about the tremendous impact it's had. It's more or less changed Lafayette from an agricultural centered activity to all-centered activity.
The oil and gas industry has contributed greatly to the growth of our area, but the retail trade industry has also contributed to that growth, like the Acadiana Mall, Northgate Mall, and many smaller community shopping areas. Retail sales here are among the highest per capita in the entire nation. The city leads the state in sales per household and is 9th in the nation. One man who's very high on Lafayette's future is Mayor Dud Lastrapes. Let's go inside and meet him.
Lafayette is a great place to live in, and among its assets and resources, I think the best are its human resources. Other than that, we of course do have a city with good facilities, not certainly a city without its problems. We do have our problems, and probably number one is trying to solve the traffic problem, which is relative to the growth. But that is, in a sense, a nice problem to have because it does mean that this city is on the grow. It means good job opportunities, low unemployment. A lot of our young people can stay. We have a strength of the oil industry here, and we're beginning to diversify and realize that we need to expand our industry and business opportunities and so on. But all in all, I would say we have a good bit of momentum going right now.
For many years, the oil industry was the principal industry here, but discuss with me a little bit this diversification of industry.
Well, I think the oil industry still is, and nobody can, I guess, actually say how long it will be as strong as it is, but with the great need that we have for energy in this country and the need to be independent of outside and overseas sources of energy, I think that we're going to continue to be strong for some time to come from all the conversations I have with people who should be in the know. But we have, for example, an active Chamber of Commerce. We have an active harbor and terminal district. The city is trying to work along with them and other public bodies, not only to attract new industry, but hopefully to recognize the industry that we do have and to provide the kind of political atmosphere from our standpoint in which they will be comfortable operating in, and to provide the needs and services for the continued growth that we will experience.
You know, it's interesting to note that two of the area's leading public officials have their roots in the broadcast industry. Mayor Dud Lastrapes, whom you just met, began his career in television news. And State Representative Ron Gomez began as an announcer and is now the owner of 2 radio stations. Public broadcasting should have 2 very true friends through these officials in Lafayette.
I think broadcasting is exceptionally important in Acadiana. This is an area that within 50 road miles of Lafayette you have over 500,000 people. And in many cases the print media doesn't cover all of this at one time. The broadcast media is extremely important to the area, radio and television, in bringing local news and state news, supplementing the network coverage that comes in through the commercial television stations. Now with LPB located with a transmitter in Lafayette, I believe that we'll be able to see more and more of Acadiana being reflected in the Louisiana Public Broadcasting programs in the future.
Good time and good food are synonymous in Southwest Louisiana. The people are characterized as hard-working but fun-loving, filled with joie de vivre, the joy of living. What kind of traditional Cajun cuisine would you like? Perhaps some boudin, those delicious links filled with meat and rice, or some hogshead cheese, or cracklins. How about some seafood? Oysters, shrimp, red snapper, crawfish. There are also restaurants that specialize in Spanish food, Oriental dishes, or steaks, and plenty of fast food places. And there are lots of festivals here and about to celebrate all that good food, and of course combine it with a good time, like the Rice Festival in Crowley, the Boudin Festival in Broussard, the Shrimp Festival in Delcombe, or the Crawfish Festival in Breaux Bridge. Those are just some examples for you. Ah yes, good times all over Acadiana. One of the better-known events is horse racing at Evangeline Downs. From early April through Labor Day, the cry of Ils sont partis, they're off, can be heard here. The growth of the Downs has been tremendous since it opened, when the handle, that's the total money bet each night, was far less than it is today.
When Evangeline Downs had its inaugural opening, we were hoping that we would have a mutual handle of approximately $135,000 per night. Last year, our average nightly handle was $395,000 per night. Now, in 1981 so far, our handle is averaging close to $500,000 per night. Our attendance this year is on an average of about right at 4,000 to 4,200. It's averaging somewhere in that, which is an increase of about 300 or 400 people per night more than we had last year.
Tell me something about the history of Evangeline Downs.
Well, Evangeline Downs, going into its 16th year, like I mentioned earlier, it was an economy move when they tried to build this racetrack, and it has really had an impact on the industry. It's almost impossible to say the total impact, but for instance, USL is now enjoying a football stadium that may have never been if it had not been from the taxes that were earmarked to building a football stadium for Southwestern Louisiana. Our annual tax, pari-mutuel tax that the state received from Evangeline Downs for our race meet is approximately $1.5 million per year. Our purchase to the horsemen are $2.5 million per year. Our payroll here averages around about $1.5 million per year, and we employ something like about 400 people. We have people coming here every weekend, as strange as it may seem, from Houston. While the ladies are doing nothing during the day, they go shopping. They find it very comfortable to shop at the stores here. It's not, they don't have to fight traffic for 4 or 5 hours just to go downtown, and they really enjoy it.
Yes, the sport of kings is king during the racing months. But there are other good times that abound in Lafayette. The first large event is Mardi Gras and remains one of the city's main tourist attractions. 4 days of parades prior to and through Mardi Gras end with the beautiful pageant and ball of King Gabriel and Queen Evangeline, rulers of the carnival. And each year, right here in Girard Park, is Festivals Acadiens, at which time you can listen and dance to traditional Cajun music. The new tower for Louisiana Public Broadcasting is near this town, Kaplan. And not to be left out, Kaplan each year has its Bastille Day, the start of the French Revolution when Bastille Prison was stormed. Kaplan reenacts that takeover each year. Yes, there's always a good time to be had in Acadiana, but there's also the serious side. Education is a vital part of this city, home of the University of Southwestern Louisiana, with a student enrollment of more than 14,000 in 7 colleges. It was established in 1901 as the Southwestern Louisiana Industrial Institute, the word industrial later being dropped, and renamed USL in 1969. USL promises to continue its expansion physically and academically, says President Ray Authement.
The university has expanded its programs to serve industry over the last few years. The Petroleum Training Services program offered through the Conference Center has grown from about 500 to over 3,000 students per year. We're now in process of implementing a petroleum landman program for training petroleum landmen to serve the industry of the area. We've instituted a 2-year technical program in petroleum technology, which is very, very popular and will grow very, very rapidly over the next few years. We're responding to the needs of industry every day of the week and trying to plan new programs that are needed. Certainly business is a viable program. Our business school is growing faster than any other area of the university, and that's simply because of the business climate in Lafayette and the economic development in the area. The growth of the university is due primarily to the growth of Acadiana and to the attractiveness of this part of the country, to the people of the world, and certainly the attractiveness of our academic programs to young people from throughout the country and throughout the world. Computer science, engineering, business, agriculture are very attractive programs for students from all parts of the world, and they're coming in larger and larger numbers.
And the arts are alive in Lafayette also. This is the Art Center for Southwest Louisiana. Many fine works are hung here. Some of the world's greatest classical music virtuosos visit our city, along with off-Broadway shows and several local little theater groups. And there is the ballet. This is the site of the new University Medical Center in Lafayette. Combined with Our Lady of Lourdes and Lafayette General Hospitals, Acadiana will have health care facilities unmatched in the South. Right across the street from the medical center is USL's Cajun Field, and not too far from here, within 2 years, will be constructed a $40 million civic center. What do you see in Lafayette's future?
I see a tremendous lot of growth here with us now and in the months and years to come. I see the greatest challenge from where I sit is to provide for that growth. I think we have to recognize that it is here. Certainly we haven't reached a stage, maybe in some areas of the country they're saying this, but to where we want not to recognize or accept that growth. I think it's a healthy thing for this economy and for the quality and style of living that we have. We do have to kind of get a handle on that and plan for it and prepare for it and handle it, as I say. So that is the challenge I see, and I see that growth and expansion of this community in this area ahead of us. We're beginning to see and realize this when we read publications from other parts of the country. There was one in particular which I have copies of that I've used in some recent talks, put out, for example, by the First Chicago Corporation, whose real estate division, among the studies of all the communities in the country, came up with 11 which had the greatest growth potential, and Lafayette was listed. They called it the city with the #1 growth potential in this state and #2 in the entire South.
Positive attitude of the area says nothing but good about the future, quality of life, and as far as industrial growth. I'm not really sure that the two actually go hand in hand, but the way it has happened in Lafayette over the past 20 years, we have been able to progress as far as quality of life and having the growth, industrial growth, if you want to call it that, or the growth of the economy here. The future looks even brighter than the past as far as Acadiana is concerned.
Lafayette is more than a place, it's an idea. Lafayette is it's a concept, and the people here are great. We have the greatest food in the world, and the greatest camaraderie, and it's just a whopping place to live.
Yes, Louisiana Public Broadcasting will find a tremendous area in which it's moving. An area with unique French heritage and a vibrant future. An area Longfellow described in his poem Evangeline as the Eden of Louisiana. Welcome, Louisiana Public Broadcasting, to Acadiana.